It is widely shown that recovery from sleep debt usually occurs within 1 to 3 nights of sleep, depending on the accumulated amount of debt. But an hour-for-hour recovery period is not needed because recovery sleep is more efficient. Slow wave sleep recovers first, then REMS sleep. Let me repeat that. Slow wave recovers first, then REMS. If only one night is needed, M3 recovers the first half of the night, slow wave, right? And REM sleep the second half. For moderate sleep debt recovery, M3 recovers the first night and REMS the second. And for the most lengthy and/or severe sleep debt, recovery generally takes 3 days, with the first night entirely taken up by M3 recovery and REM sleep taking both the second and the third nights. Got that? The actual negative emotional, cognitive, behavioral, and health effects of chronic sleep restriction go away with sleep recovery. However, many of their indirect effects do not. Here's a couple of examples. First, one of the health effects of chronic sleep restriction is increased hunger and weight gain. This is due to the fact, as we covered before, that sleep restriction messes with the levels of proteins necessary in regulating hunger. Add to that decreased frontal lobe functioning, which is involved in impulse control. While the increased hunger ends with sleep recovery, you can be left with significant weight gain. Another example, one of the cognitive effects of chronic sleep restriction is a deficit in mental functioning. Take, for instance, a study by Andrews. This one was done in 2004, and we're going to refer to it as the Sleep and GPA study. In spite of their heavy academic load, the U.S. Navy used to only allow RTC recruits to sleep for 6 hours per night. Andrews convinced them to keep this constant for 1 year at 6 hours. Then they raised it to 8 years for another 2 years. There were over 2,500 recruits in this study. The recruits' average GPA over the 6-hour regiment year was a 3.91. This raised significantly with the 8-hour regiment year to a 4.38. The Navy, by the way, changed their sleep regiment as a result. Thus, when you engage in chronic sleep restriction, you will recover to your normal level of functioning after your recovery sleep in 1 to 3 days. However, the indirect effects may be more lasting. Now, how much is too much? Extended sleep can contribute to recovery from sleep debt, but sometimes people extend their sleep even when they are not deprived, believing that the linear benefits of sleep continue beyond what is needed. In other words, believing that it will make them super alert and cause them to function above average. First, extra sleep, we're talking here over 9 hours, has low efficiency. It contains little, if any, M3, in other words, deep sleep, unless it's extended beyond 12 hours, at which point some M3 begins to emerge. Instead of waking up super alert and extra high functioning, one ends up walking around with what is called sleep inertia. Sleep inertia. Inertia is I-N-E-R-T-I-A, right? Feeling dazed, lethargic, under-responsive, and thick-headed. Now, on the other hand, non-voluntary, uncontrolled excessive sleeping can be the result of a medical or psychological problem. For instance, people who suffer from clinical depression sometimes find themselves sleeping for days